Good evening, folks. Hi there. It's Chloe, isn't it? Blimey, I cannot see. I've got the sun streaming through the window directly behind the monitor, and I can't read usernames. Hello, Chloe. Hello, Token Scandy. Hope you're both well. Good to see you. So we are back on the RC2014 Pro Pride, which, for the benefit of those who have not seen any previous streams in the series, is a... You can't see it. Hooray! Is a special edition of the RC2014. Started out as a single board Z80 computer, and then there was the Pro edition, which is a backplane based things with all sorts of modules you can plug into it and so on and so forth. And then this is the special edition Pro Pride, which was put out for Pride Month in 2023 to raise money for LGBT positive causes, trans rescue, and is it Rainbow Rescue, Rainbow Road, something like, not Rainbow Road. Charities involved with helping trans people who are stuck in repressive regimes that all the rest of it, which seemed fitting to build for Pride Month this year, given that Britain is obviously headed that way if it isn't there already. So yes, it is. The boards are coloured, themed to match the colours in the Pride Progress flag, I believe it is, to be more specific. Some of them are standard PCBs where the typical solder mask colour is used. So for instance, we have somewhere a blue one and a purple one. With these two, I don't know which way around they are, and the yellow one and green one and red one are all perfectly standard PCB colours you can get from random cheap Chinese manufacturer for a couple of bucks for a set of 5 sort of thing. The others are not colours as readily available, and so Spencer developed a technique of using white silkscreen print, I think, rather than solder mask, probably on top of a white solder mask anyway, and then using dye sublimation printing to produce I think there's a pale blue, there's a pink, there's an orange, well, I call it orange, it might be pink, and there's a brown, I think. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm not the best positioned to talk with any authority on colours. So look. Hello there, Remdog and Dopaz. Yes, it was the original board was 2014. This was a 2023 release, much later version. Let's see what else we have. Anybody else I need to say hello to? No, nobody new yet. So what we're going to do today, now that we have finished building the kit, and we have all 9 modules and the backplane all done, we can fire it up into either MS Basic is built into ROM, like any good 8-bitter, any second-rate 8-bitter. The good ones had BBC Basic, obviously, or some of them had 4th. Or we can boot CPM off the compact flash card. So we want to explore some of the CPM software available for the thing. And we also want to have another look at this board. Let's hold it in front of the right camera. It is very dark in here, isn't it? Oh well. This is the Wi-Fi board, and the stock firmware on it allows you to telnet into this board, and it appears as the serial line, one of the 2 serial lines on the RC2014. So we could fire that up. If we we'll demonstrate it using the serial link first, if I can remember where that is. Is CoolTerm not even running? It isn't. Excellent. As you can tell, I'm even more well prepared than usual for this stream, folks. Had to come home via the delivery office to pick up something they tried to deliver the other day, and I'd forgotten how bad it was to get there at 5 o'clock. So we want the USB modem connection, I think. 115 200 board, 8N1, off we go, connect. Options, data handling, don't convert non-printable characters, and handle backspace and delete, and handle bell. Right, good. So what we should be able to do now is show... Okay, you can already see it. Excellent. Power up. Small computer monitor, RC2014, and if we say CPM, we should get an A prompt. There's our download.com, which will let us send files to it in a minute. There's our C prompt. That should have more than one file on it. I think I know what this is though. Terminal, enter key, emulation, carriage return. There we go. So there's basic CPM utilities, and I think on the B drive we have RT Russell's BBC Basic for CPM. Yep. Quit. Yep. And a terminal emulator program, or a terminal program that lets us hook up to the second serial line. Now the reason I'm showing you this working is because what I want to show you now is this not working. And what we're going to do for that is unhook that serial connection because we don't need it. You can only have one driving a serial connection at once. Install the Wi-Fi board. Power up. And then we should be able to, let me just check this before I throw it on screen. Ping 192.168.3.5, wasn't it? Yes, good. So if I switch that over to an iTerm window, there we go. If we hit reset, we should get the sign-on banner. So we do. We can telnet into it. And if we type CPM, it echoes it back, which isn't what we intended. So we break to telnet and set echo off. And we're still getting garbage. Set echo on. So if we reset and drop back here, let's try basic. So this is not being as useful as we would hope it to be. Oh, music, sorry. That's going to be a problem. I have... That's just... I'm just going to change that. It's because I have the music bound to Shift M, which is brilliant until you start typing something. Hotkeys. Filter by hotkey. Shift M. No.
RHK77 cheered with 100 bits. Good evening. Due to German ban, I'm late again. Apologize.
Oh, good evening RHK. Thank you for the 100 bits, and absolutely no worries on being late. I am being as organised as usual, i.e. not at all, so you are missing very little. Let's move that out of the way a bit. And hang on, I'm going to try seeing if that helps. No, I still can't read anybody's usernames. That's a shame. Swarm dead insects. Oh dear, that's not what you want, Swarm. Burst apart. It's one of the nightmares of well, certainly home ownership. I don't know if that's your position or not. Just going to catch up on chat there. Dope, as I said, I was able to replace a part without destroying the die. Yes, I did actually manage to. There was a part I had to touch or swap out. I fitted the wrong resistor to the serial board. which meant that bytes we were sending weren't getting through, and so had to replace that. And I was not happy because obviously the more rework or the more work you do on these boards, because the die sublimation happens, I think it's about 160, 170 degrees centigrade. Soldering iron tip has to be hotter than that, so you risk making all sorts of mess. But thankfully, I think I got away with it. What I haven't got away with is cleaning the backplane board earlier today. I doused it in flux cleaner and now it's all sticky, which is the exact opposite of what you want from flux cleaner. So I need to clean that before I attach the little rubber feet to the bottom. G-Pin, hi there, how are you doing? Good to see you. So what we want to do is pull out the oscilloscope, which is now going to be in the way. Brackets thoroughly in the way. Maybe if we turn it that way around. Okay, that'll do. Find a scope probe would also be useful. That's the wrong one. That's probe 2. We can use probe 2 if we have to. I do have a ground lug for it, but I would rather know where probe 1 went. Well, there's something for another day. So probe 2. What do we need to do? We need to bring up the oscilloscope. Why can you not see that? You should be able to see that. There we go. That's right. Aha, there we go. Oscilloscope. Can I not put it on the far right hand side? Possibly. I don't know whether the cabling is going to reach that far. Let's find out. Especially without disturbing my cup of coffee. Ooh. Okay, just about is the answer. Whack the laptop. Splendid. And oh yeah, now at least you can see the Pro Pride. Let's have a look. Move the mug. Yes, mug is moved. Majenko Tech is melting. Good evening, Majenko. How are you doing? And we need to hook up a ground reference somewhere. There's one here. Ground. Like so. And we want to find the second RX pin, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First RX pin would be that one in theory. So, force a trigger. That's a noisy mess, that's always good news. Operative. No. Oh, that's fine, okay. So, if we send need more hands. If I send a... Now I'm getting no... Right, I should get output from that when I press reset, and I am not. Why not? Exit. Quit. Oh, well, that's new. Oh, it was still booting, was it? Okay, reset. There we go. So we want the ground reference again, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up it should be for RX. And now if I press a key, I was expecting to... We'll put the trigger source on the right channel. There we go. So we do have, if we send something, F9 and null, that doesn't see, oh okay, this will be because it will be, so where's the serial decode menu? Serial decode, signals, TX2 threshold, no, that'll be fine, threshold off a bit. Bus configuration, 8-bit, no parity, baud rates, yep. Polarity idle high, force. Ha. What have I done wrong there? Trigger mode, normal. Anybody spotting? What? Okay, so if we look at, we're sending FF carriage return, FF null, so it's no wonder that the things were getting a bit unhappy with us. H E L P. So why? Where's that FF coming from? We'll reach over the scope and grab the coffee first, so we can think about this for a moment, and then we might have to do some TCP dumping. Is that It's not part of the Telnet protocol. It should just be effectively raw bytes unless it's something escaped and its escape is... It's 255 and 254, but it shouldn't be escaping CR and null. It shouldn't even be sending null. But it definitely is. That sounds exciting, Chloe. Mind you, I see you've got some excitement up your neck of the woods today as well. Right, so what can we do here? What we can do is fold the legs down on the scope so that I can turn it round through 90 degrees and not be reaching over it all the time. No, that's not going to work. We'll put it down here. This is why I usually have the table set or everything set up the other way around when I'm doing work with the scope and such like. So we put that like that. Then I can reach over here and say Control T, TCP dump, no, man, TCP dump. TCP port 23, TCP dump, so let's try pressing enter. Probably needed an extra V, didn't I? Control C. So we want VVV to start with. Payload. I should remember this, but I usually just use Wireshark because I'm lazy. Let's give that a go. Enter. No. Anybody yes, that was what I was thinking of, Chloe. Anybody care to remind me what flag I need to pass a TCP dump to get it to actually hex dump the packets? Will from the C flag continue? No. We'll just read this the hard way then. Print each packet minus its link level header in ASCII. No, that's not what we want. Do not, no. Print an option pack, no. S0, thank you, Majenko. Ah. So one more time, we'll press enter and make sure that we're not actually sending in it. No, we're just sending OD. Okay. Length 2. I would have thought it would be length 1, but and it tried retransmitting that a few times. Yeah, I just don't have T-Shark installed, Swarm. I do on my Linux machines usually, but not on this one. 1 second while I deal with some coffee. So we are not sending the FFs. The FFs must be being synthesized somewhere. Presumably in the thing. Let's bring up .192.168.3.5, isn't it? Let me bring up the in place of that we want that one. Okay. There we go. So there's the web page for the firmware running on the thing. So all looks correct. UART pins normal, no. RX pull up won't be any different. Well, let's double check that though. RC20 in the UK, and we want that one. Oi! Okay. Annoying. So we want the ESP Wi-Fi module. There we go. Double check we haven't missed anything stupid. 2 LEDs, UPI, firmware ESP link. Is some hardware stuff which we don't mind. So ESP link setup, make sure we got this right. Once connected, yes, done that. So con led to GPIO 4, serial led to GPIO 5. 5, yes. RX pull up box is ticked, untick it. Oh, it's unticked, okay. Whoops, I didn't see the box there, it's too pale. Then go to menu, so Wi-Fi station. Right, we've connected it to the Wi-Fi, that's all fine. So this is all very much of the once you've done this, it's done sort of thing. So let's ask the device to send help through the web console, and then if I can rescue my scope probe, we'll see what it sends when it's doing it that way rather than something it's received off the network. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, isn't it? So enter submit. Okay, that sends what we expected, HELPCR. Whereas if we type the same thing in oh, it's not parsing any telnet then. Wow, okay. I would have presumed if it says telnet in, it would have actually implemented telnet. Help. Is there an option in this one to just send raw, or do I have to use netcat? NC. Sorry, 1 second. Just trying to remember how to use netcat. Host name, ports, host. Oh, this port isn't optional. Okay. Odd. 1 second. Get the scope probe back on. HELP. Okay, so all we need to do now is figure out how to get netcat to send CR rather than LF. So that should be Control D and C and CR. If we send -C, that's the closest we're going to get in a hurry. So if we reset that, there we go, and then go HELP and press enter. Oh, okay, so yeah, because it's still sending CRLF, we need it to really ideally not send LF, because CPM isn't expecting that. But that's fine, because we can go into basic. Move that over there and try. Okay, that's interesting. There's a delay on the scope before it sends the. So if we do that and try again, LIST, enter. Yeah, there's a considerable delay between the LIST and the enter, but we can check that that is correct by zooming in a bit. CRLF. Come on. I should probably just use segmented capture, but there we go, LIST. Right, so the problem was just telnet. Okay, that's good to know. Means there's nothing wrong with the hardware. So where are we? We are at 20.7. Okay, I shall put the oscilloscope away first. Because it is warm and it is heavy. And I don't want that combination on my lap right now. Janko, yes, you could just type type it, but life is too short. We shall simply switch to using the VGA, because that means we can get better capture than you squinting at my terminal window, and we can re-jumper the Wi-Fi card onto port 2, which will let us do exciting things with alternative firmwares, in theory. Firmwares or firmsware? One or the other, I'm sure. So, power the RC2014 down. I'll turn it around this way actually to make life easier on ourselves. Pop the serial board out. Re-jumper that for port 2. Like so. And plug in the VGA, which is on port 1. So this is potentially going to give us a minor challenge. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We want power there. No, we want VGA there. We want power here because it's a powered VGA cable. And we want a keyboard. Ideally, you want a keyboard that isn't tied in knots around. There we go. So we plug that in here. And if I bring up the VGA capture instead of that one. Hopefully in a moment we get... Yeah, we don't get... Well, it takes a while for the monitor on my table over here to sync up. Good evening, Hot Rocks. How are you doing? Good to see you. Just going to have a quick glance back through the chat to see what's going on. Anything I need to pay attention to? Majenko redeemed down in front. Sorry about that. I had to nobble that. It's not working at the moment for reasons terribly dull involving Python. I was not being sufficiently lazy. Instead of just shelling out to say to make it yell at me, I decided I'd actually use the correct AppKit interfaces to talk to the OS or the macOS speech synthesizer, and that has apparently broken when I restarted it. So I shall have to fix that later, but I discovered it literally as I was pressing the Go Live button. As I said to Token Scandy earlier on Mastodon or on Fediverse, I set the stream title literally before I press start streaming, because it's easier to do it in OBS because it has a pop-up for doing that rather than logging into Twitch to do it. And then I have a Python script that injects that into all the standby slides and such like, and that script also has the down in front and so on, and so I started that, it refused to start. I had to comment out the down in front stuff, then it started, then I could set the title, then I could start streaming. Cheesy garlic pasta again, excellent. That sounds like my sort of dinner. I am going to be on the chicken shish kebabs, I think, tonight. But anyway, there we have the thing. I am going to... How legible is that on stream, folks? Let me see if I can make it a bit bigger anyway. It is now bigger, but I can change the colour if it would be helpful. Control Shift M. That might be more legible, but less green. So this is the trade-off. I think you are getting glare off my keyboard. There we go. The other thing I could do actually is that didn't do what I expected it to do. I thought that was going to be on a black background, but never mind. So from here we can get rid of that and we can boot into basic. And I'm going to turn the RC2014 through 90 degrees so that we can revisit the Larsen scanner from oh, is that my water glass flickering in the corner there? So from here we can do something like 10 for I equals -7 to 7. I can't see my own screen, this is genius. 30 next I, 40 for 40 go to 10, 100 out 0 ABS I, so that's just a variation on the program we saw earlier in the week, and we'll see if it works using the yeah, you're right, Majenko. It works better on on the planar background, doesn't it? Where's filters? Color correction. Did that do anything? Okay, it did do something. Right. So if we run that, maybe this will work. So I can't remember who it was suggested it on Tuesday. Instead of doing the loop from 0 to 7, I've forgotten something. 100 out 0 to the ABS I. There we go. So instead of doing 0 to 7, then 7 to 0, step -1, just loop -7 to 7 and take the absolute. And so in theory, it's running too slowly. We'll fix that in a second while I untangle this mess I'm in. Oh, break works, that's good. 110 for n equals 1 to 100. Next n list. So if we run that one, we should get a better effect. Won't overlap the chat display. Blimey. Hang on. I thought it was snapped that it wouldn't, but obviously I was mistaken. There we go. It was your suggestion, was it, Industrious Ant? Great. No, the slowness was simply down to me misremembering a constant in the delay loop. So anyway, So that's all working. The other things we want to try are find some software to put on it, which will be fun, and then try and put some alternate firmware on the Wi-Fi board so that we can use it to connect out to a BBS. But let's have a look at some software first. So what we want to do is bring up CPM archives. Was that classic CMP, wasn't it? Yes. OBS. OBS, not cool term. There we go. So let's have a browse for some software to try. Sausage and eggs, excellent, Chloe. Get that out of the way so I can lean forward a bit. Gene Buckle, friend of mine from many years ago when I was doing gem stuff, has a repository of, there it is, the Retro Computing Archive of commercial CPM software, which was exciting. Let's see what else we've got. There are some applications on Gabby's site, formerly Tim Olmsted's site, the late great Tim Olmsted. It's got a memorial library there for scanned manuals and such like. And we'll have a look at Walnut Creek. There should be a public domain fourth we can try out. But here we go. The Commercial Software Archive. See what else we've got here. So word processing, WordStar being obviously the £800 gorilla in the room when it comes to word processing. DBase 2 might run on it, but I don't remember how to use DBase. It has been probably 35 years since I last played with a DBase clone, or an XBase as they were known. Business software, let's see if there's anything fun in there. Games and entertainment. So, text editors. Nevada Edit. Versions of WordStar configured for older computers. Excellent. So we would need to find one that is configured for the VT. Is it the 52 or the 100 on the VGA board this thing emulates? Where are we? VT100. Okay. So that could prove tricky, because things like the Zenith were a lot more popular for CPM. Let's have a look at Nevada Edit. Peach Text is a WordStar work-alike and also includes Peach Calc. Set up for a K Pro 4. I'll have a look at it. New Word, yeah, that became the much detested later version of WordStar, didn't it? Perfect Writer, don't recognise that one. Magic Wand. Okay, well, let's look for some WordStar. Ideally an older version. German language, no, I'm not quite brave enough to try that one. WordStar version 3, let's see what happens. Because a CPM machine isn't a CPM machine if it doesn't run WordStar after all. So what programming languages do we have? Fortran and COBOL, no thank you. Modular 2, I'm not familiar with offhand. Aztec C, that was supposed to be quite a good implementation actually. Let's see if we can find it. BDSC, don't know. Aztec C, professional for CPM 80, download. Basic compiler. Give it a go. I've seen Nevada, Fortran and Pascal for the DAC Rainbow, but the problem is there's one copy on eBay of Nevada Pascal, and it says for Rainbow, and then the disc actually says for the VT115, aka the Robin, so I don't trust it, and I'm not spending that sort of money on a disc that A, may be junk, and B, may not even work even if it's readable. Anyway. Let's keep on reading. Oh, that's a shame. Mallard Basic removed by request. So Locomotive remains active surprisingly late. I believe they are now defunct. They got rolled into Daemon because they went on to write Turnpike, I think it was, after their escapades with Amstrad. And Daemon ended up buying Turnpike and then it got rolled into Thus and it's now gone. But they, in the early 2000s, were still active and were still selling Mallard, so asking people not to distribute it, which is a shame because I would like a copy of Mallard, but I don't have a PCW to get it off. So where are we? Keep on reading. Tiny Seed circa 1979. Well, that's got to be absolutely cursed. We'll give that a go. Turbo Pascal, that's more like it. If anybody wants to get up close to a person with mumps, there's your chance. So, see what we have under business software. Multi-plan with installer, now we're talking. Plan 80. Give it a go. You know I'm a sucker for a spreadsheet. Multi-plan is a stinker of a spreadsheet, it really is, but we're not going to get 1, 2, 3 running on the thing, so bunch of games including Zork. Well, we might come back to that. I'd rather play Hitchhikers, but then Shelby might think I was picking on him when I get out of the first room. Where are we? So, source code. See what digital research applications are available for CPM 80. Not much by the looks of it. Tech, which Tex is not tech. That's important to remember. Copy of curve of 68k, that's no good. Micro Emacs 68k, okay. CPM 80, here we go. That is CBase, that was Digital Research's basic compiler for CPM. And here we go, 4th. Let's try that. Oh, Fig 4th was supposed to be better than 4th 83 if memory serves. Anyway, that's some stuff to look at. So what we want to do is find, there's a page for getting files onto the thing somewhere on here. And what you do is you run it through something that converts it into effectively a hex record file, not the same as Intel or Motorola hex, but a hex file that you can squirt down the serial line. See if I can remember where it is. No. Let me just turn off Safari for a moment in case pressing Control T gives me something embarrassing. It doesn't, that's good. RC2014 downloader. There we go. Binary to CPM file packager. That's what we wanted. Turn the right window back on. So what we can do is open up some of those files we just downloaded and have a look inside. So let's start with Multiplan for a laugh. What's in there? Oh, loads of files. Well, that's not going to work. Let's try the fourth. Loads of files in that as well, and that appears to be a traditional screen-based fourth, which will be some variety of exciting, but not my variety of exciting. Similarly for 480. Sorry, I meant to go through all this yesterday, and okay, I think the first order of business might be to get Kermit set up actually. Because these are just too big. Yeah, far too many files to just unless you can do multiple in one go at this thing. Select the source file. No. Date added, come on. Fourth Planet EMP Tiny C, what's in there? Bascom. Right, Nevada Edit is relatively small, so that should be good. Let's try that in a second. Peach text is quite large, WordStar is quite large. Aztec C is massive. Basic compiler similarly. Tiny C similarly. Oh, this isn't going hugely well, is it? Okay, we'll try Nevada Edit and see if we can get a screen editor up and running for a start. So to do that, we want to get rid of those. And convert file. And there's a .ir file which sounds like it might be important, and a .prn, so we'll do those as well. And then we need to we'll disconnect the Wi-Fi board because we need to use the second serial port for transferring files, so we'll plug in the USB connection. And we'll give it a go. There, this is going to work. I might actually be a bona fide pillock. Oh yeah. If you want to send files, we need to use the console where CPM is running. Mojenko, you don't want to want me to answer the question of what variety is my variety of exciting. Bear with me while I jiggle some window captures around. Off we go. There we go. So now if we power up, we should get that, and we should be able to say CPM. And let's put these files on B. and then we can just say send file from downloads nvedit.com first. And .er and .prn. NVEdit version 2.2 configuring. For an ANSI mode terminal, Advantage, Apple Computer, Display, Videx, Beehive. Okay, we reset that and we plug back in, or plug the VGA back in. And we change that back to Control-Shift-M. Yeah. We plug the keyboard in and we press Control-Shift-M and we change that to white again. There we go. And then we boot CPM and we go B and we go NVEdit. And we should be able to say this is an ANSI mode terminal because enter file type to user's default txt. What? I don't like what that was doing. Carriage return for more terminals. Let's have a look. That's confused with baby blue card. No, so it is at for the ANSI because the VT100 control codes eventually got adopted basically as the ANSI cert. So that should be fine. And then TX file type for users default. I tried TXT and it gives TX, but okay. We don't really care about tab stops. So edit. Source file is required. Create watts.txt, yes. No. Okay. So you need both the input and the output files to exist. Maybe I should have read the documentation. This is going well. I can go up to the top. I can't cursor up. I can... Maybe it's Control HJK. Well, Control K deleted the entire line, or yeah, I think we might be better off looking for a Kermit so we can get something more file-tastic downloaded. So which do you want to do first? We have about 50 minutes before I want to wrap up and hand over to Shelby, so we can either try and find a Kermit, or we can try and build alternative firmware for the Wi-Fi modem firmware for this that we can dial out to a BBS. A Kermit permit indeed, Hot Rocks. But if anybody has any preferences, shout out. In the meantime, I shall have a look to see if I can find a useful Kermit implementation. That one. That's 68k. That's not going to be useful. Okay. Probably be one of the Simtel archives somewhere, wouldn't there? Or Walnut Creek. That'll do. Z80 Emacs source. No, thank you. High-Tech Z80. Well, High-Tech wasn't. But they had some nice compilers, I think, if memory serves. Yeah, those are all archive files. We need to find a de-archiver for that first. And Kermit not found, so that's fine. Stick C. Epson files. Kermit. There we go. Kermit 80 documentation source. No description available. Okay. Well, let's guess at that one. CP411 hex.ark, and we need to find a. Aha! This program is an Intel format hex file just for validity. So we need to find a basic compiler or a basic interpreter for that. Line input. Just looking to see if there are any clues as to which variety of basic it expects to be. That is probably mbasic. There's got to be an easier way of doing this. Kermit CPM 80. Oh, of course, it's not going to be the CPM implementation doesn't have I don't think the CPM implementation on this implements the BIOS calls for talking to the secondary port, or does it? It should do, yes. The IO byte is implemented, so we want one that doesn't know, because all of these know about particular serial hardware, and we don't want that one. We want something that just talks to the OGS device. There we go. But Cypher 1896, we just want a generic CPM 3, no, generic CPM 2 with IO byte. There we go, that's what we want. cpvgen.hex. FTP URLs are disabled. Of course they are, because why the fuck would anybody want to use FTP in this day and age? Bloody web browser vendors. Arseholes to a man. Downloads curl-o. Failed to connect to kermit.columbia.edu. Right, okay. That was the wrong one anyway. We keep going. There must be a .com file somewhere. generic.com. Why do I have what? Why is my browser suddenly using Google as its default browser search engine? Rude. Should be DuckDuckGo. That's what we just looked at. If you now you get both the main module and the machine dependent file linked together with mload. To get the executable for the Osborne one. Okay, this is going to be an adventure, folks. Let's see what how far we can get. So we want to see what's in that file, and we need CPS cur, which we might have. The Osborne one, so you want CPV gen, CP .mload.asm okay, so we need to first build mload.com, then we can use that to convert and link the Kermit files. Okay. Nope, RC2014 there. So let's give that a go. mload.asm. We'll do it this way, even though it's probably easier to just it is probably easier to just copy and paste the file, but we might as well use the same routine for all of them. So back up to OBS and bring up that one. Plug it into the right serial port would help. So I'll use drive K for Kermit, and we'll send the mload.asm, and we also need to send apparently cpvgen.hex, was it? cpvgen.hex. If I have the right window open. So now we have a hex encoded hex file, brilliant, and then we need, what did it say to do? CPS cur. So what files do we have matching CPS cur? CPS, oh, it is just the one. Back to call term, and then connection send file CPS cur. Oh, that's taking a while. the other one was CPV Gen. So there we go. So now what do we have? We have mload.asm. So first we need to build that. The assembler should be on the C drive. Asm, yeah. So asm k mload. Oh, this is blisteringly fast, obviously. It's doing a lot of disk I/O. Oh, end of assembly. Excellent. So what do we have? Must be on the K drive. Good. mload.prn mload.hex. I forget, do we then do load mload.hex? Or does that just crash? That just crashes. Oh, there's no linker either. Okay, that's not useful. Load pip stat won't be useful. Submit isn't useful. DDT isn't useful as a debugger. Display is probably not useful. Dump.com ed asm. Oh, mload.com. Was that there previously? It was not. So obviously the answer is to do c load mload.hex. And then give it a moment instead of just, there we go. Instead of presuming it's, yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I thought it had crashed and didn't see it had actually finished. Okay, mload Kermit equals cps cur cpv gen. File kermit.com. Let's see what happens. Okay, we have a working Kermit. Oh, just catch up chat. If Token Scandi hasn't already disappeared, yes, I shall see you in the virtual pub later. Thanks for joining us. Oh, that was ages ago, looking at surrounding commentary. Right, okay, so we have a working Kermit. We need Kermit on the Mac to talk to. Brew install Kermit. What happens? It explodes in horrible flames, I imagine. To install C Kermit. Right, Kermit doesn't exist. Did you want Hermit or C Kermit? Oh, we wanted C Kermit. Okay, that's good. So, just trying to remember how you go about using this now. I think what we need to do is go back here and disconnect USB modem 09. C Kermit. So we need open line. No. Slash dev slash USB modem 09861. No, that's going nowhere. Sorry, I just need to gather my thoughts for a moment. That's rude, Chloe. Let's get back onto familiar territory. Kermit is something I've played with once or twice back in the 90s. And although I've seen people like Majenko and Usagi use it more recently, I have no idea how to go out using C Kermit on the Mac to get files onto the CPM machine, so I shall figure that one out another time. In the meantime, let's have a look at the alternative firmware for this board. And I found a couple of promising looking ones, but what I'll do, that is set to, so that's on port 2. What we need to do is move these jumpers Yes, Majenko, I understand that much. What I don't know is the commands to get it to talk to the right serial port on the Mac, because it rejected the one I gave it outright. I think I was probably missing a TTY at the beginning, but backspace wasn't working, so I shall figure that out another time. But we'll fiddle around with this first. So we move this set of jumpers over to the right hand side. Which lets us put the ESP into, well, yeah, Apple serial is the same as traditional Unix serial. You've got your TTY and your CU devices, depending on whether you care about DTR or not. But yes, and carry detect and so on and so forth. That's all fine. It's just the literal command line interface didn't let me type a backspace, and I wasn't going to retype the entire bloody command, so I'm not going to fight the hack. Go away. I've pressed a button. I'm not going to fight a user interface that is obviously not behaving as I expect it to, unless I absolutely have to. What we should do instead is play with this, because I understand microcontrollers. We do need that. We plug this into this, like so. And then that should put us into programming mode on the ESP. I think if she did cop, I would be in for the flying karate kick and the hi-ya, and not ideal. So we need there we go. Wi-Fi modem.ino. So telnet to serial bridge. So let's have a read. Install ESP8266 supporting Arduino. Set board type to right. So select board. that one is a that one. Well, that's getting on with that. We shall have a read. LED pin 2. It was 4 and 5. Was it? I set it to 5. That all looks sensible. So platform installed. So let's try pressing the button, compiling a sketch. Okay, it's doing something. It's very slowly doing something. Uploading. Okay. Now, do I have to press the reset button? Failed to connect. Upload. And then press reset. I don't see anything else I can possibly do here. I hate to overuse the phrase "this is going splendidly," but so we want the ESP Wi-Fi module reprogramming. There we go. You need to add support for ESP devices. Done that one. Default settings should work fine for optimum use. Remove it. The 3 jumpers on the top of the board need to move from run to program. Done that. Connect a 5-volt FTDI cable. Done that. Press the reset button before uploading your new firmware. Oh, if this it depends. Is this a 5-volt or a 3.3 volt? That's only a 5-volt, isn't it? We saw it on the scope. Yeah, apparently according to the documentation, let's bring that up. So it should be as simple as hook up the serial port to the header on the board, move the jumpers over and press reset. But some devices use 3.3 volt logic levels, so they put a resistor in line to drop it for the ESP, which doesn't support that. But if you have a 3.3 volt device, there's a resistor to drop it from 5 volts, which you might need to short out. So how to verify that? How to verify that is to unplug here and probe across the ground and transmit pins and see what we've got. So what we need is a multimeter. Ideally a multimeter where the ground lead isn't tied around the tripod leg. Thank you. And so we want to go between ground and TX and see where it's idling. It's idling at 5 volts, so it's not that. Are there any settings we can twiddle for serially thingies? We're on the right serial port. And we get what looks like a... sorry, you can't see it. What looks like a sensible data packet back when you hit the reset button. So why can it not? Board port. What were the other things it said to fiddle with? CPU frequency 160. And flash size 4 meg FS3 OTA. That one. Let's try again. And then we'll press reset as soon as it looks like it's trying to connect and see what happens. And if this doesn't work, we'll go back to fiddling with Kermit. ESP tool just doesn't seem to want to talk to the ESP, which is a shame. Oh well. So unless anybody has any particularly bright ideas on what might be going wrong there, the Arduino IDE not being my favourite piece of software in the world, debug level, reset method. Get board info, what does that do? Nothing useful. Let's try changing the reset method, and yeah, I'm doing that with Jenko. There's a button on the board that I'm pressing as soon as it sits in, as soon as it starts talking to it, because I'm presuming it's waiting for the bootloader packet to show up. Now I can tell that's doing something because the light flashes on the ESP when I press the reset button. And I have moved the jumpers to the probing side, yes. I can see a packet arrive when I press reset in the serial monitor as well. So there we go. At this point I can press the button all I like and nothing happens. And if we pull up the serial monitor, press the button, and this time we get nothing. Why do this time we get nothing? A moment ago we were getting press reset. There we go. So that's what I get out of it when I press reset. I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of it, but that's what I get. Nothing else jumps out at me as a potential issue. Do I have to hold reset? No.
Cobb 2015 cheered with 50 bits. Have you tried writing it a sternly written letter?
I have not, Cop, but I'm leaning that way, yes. Thank you very much for the 50 bits. Okay, I think rather than flail around blindly on this, we'll go back to flailing around blindly in C Kermit. So to do that, we want to unhook that. We'll plug that board back in because it's kind of vaguely useful for the time being, or might be vaguely useful. And we want this on the primary console for CPM. Excuse me 1 second. There we go. At least I had plenty of warning to mute that time. And we want to bring back up that one. clear data. Connect and power up. And CPM. So we're sitting at a CPM prompt, and what we want to do is bring up ckermit. Exit clear. File name, no, device. Okay. So OBS, I will change that one to my Kermit window, like so, and we can then go Kermit. Make that a bit bigger for you. So set speed 115200. Okay, set line, device name or switch, one of the following, connect server. So set line / connect / dev / tty dot USB modem (09861). 09861.
A swarm of dead insects cheered with 100 bits. Set blasters to stun.
Oh, thank you for the 100 bits, Swarm. And yes, set blasters to disintegrate would be my preferred approach at this point. Carrier required but not detected. Set carrier watch off. Set speed 115200. Connect. Aha! Right, now we can go K. Kermit. And is it just connect a server? Set server? Connect to host on specified port. Receive from host. Oh, there you go. Set parameter. Status. Set send, set speed. No, none of those are going to be useful. No, that's not what we wanted. Now we've got them both connected to each other, and that's probably not the answer. CPM K Kermit. Or do I press Control? That's Kermit 80, which isn't what we wanted. Oh, C to return to pint is what we want to do. Yeah. So now can we ls? No, that's a load of junk. Normally you would run Kermit with the command line parameter enter server mode. Okay. Kermit unrecognised command. I mean, I thought you would just be able to type server or something at this point. Status stay. Yeah, so this laptop is called Pint, and I completely forgot why for about a year or so, because I'd set the name at one point. Oh, that looks possibly. Hang on, control. Which key did I press to get the... yeah, so anyway, it's called Pint, and eventually it came to me. I called it Pint because it's very nearly an armful, being it's a Mac M1. Sorry, type control backslash followed by C to get back. Control backslash. There we go. S. That's not useful. Suspend, hang up, close connection. Back at Pint, right. So there should be a way to do a remote ls, shouldn't there? ls remote dir. Too many retries. Almost Pachenko, yes. Okay, if all else fails, we go back to reading the documentation. Hooray! Documentation. Kermit 80 capabilities slots. Local operation, yes. Remote operation, partial, auto receive only. Oh, right. Connect receive, so if we type R, oh bloody hell, that's dumped me at the I thought the K prompt was short for Kermit. Blimey. Brains. If I had any, I'd be dangerous. Return to Pint. Remote dir. That's going to fail still, isn't it? Yeah, thanks Pajenko. I did get there eventually. Press X or E to cancel. That's doing nothing. Right, so if I type receive there, and let's find a file to send. Let's cd ws30 and send install.com. It doesn't appear to be doing a busting lot. Error count 2. Thank you, Majenko. Error count 6. That's obviously not working. Control C to quit immediately. Connect. 0. It appears to sort of be doing something. It responds, or Right. Help receive. Receive question mark. Starting. Help gives that message, not useful. Get a file from the host. No, that's not going to work because this expects to. Those commands expect to be driving the other end, don't they? So that's not going to work. Status. Auto receive is off. Show parameters. What do we have there? Auto receive is off. Yep. Set auto receive on. Set and then return to point, and let's try send again. Well, get, I think, requests a file from the other side. The receive would be the one that says get ready, here comes a file, I think, and that doesn't appear to be doing anything. X to cancel file. Hmm, 1958. Okay, we'll try connect receive starting 0. Receive install.com, then back to Pint and send install.com, and it just sits there, packet type S, which is presumably start, but packet count 1, and then the error count just goes up and up. The only question I have here is whether, if we plug this into port B, whether it's talking to that. Error count 10, so no, it's presumably not talking to the auxiliary port, which would be silly anyway, because that's not how Kermit is supposed to work. Kermit is supposed to be, as Majenko said, you use Kermit to log into the other end, you run a command to start the Kermit server, and then it goes over that connection that you've already got. It shouldn't start one of its own. So we'll have a quick read of documentation overview. Use set command to establish necessary speed and parity. Just connect to establish terminal connection to the remote computer. Transfer a text file, start and send the desired file if uploading, or to receive if downloading. Escape back and then type C. Okay, so if we do receive, and then escape back. C, connecting. Oh, at the CPM type. The remote Kermit may also be put into the server mode to simplify these operations. Give the server command to the remote Kermit. Well, we don't think we can because there isn't a server command in the Kermit 80. So what we need to do there is... So ideally what we want is a Kermit that uses the auxiliary port. Let's get rid of this because it's not being any use whatsoever. Ideally then what we want is a Kermit that's built to use the auxiliary port, which is possible because I think that one was, well, might be supposed to. Then I can start a Getty on the Mac, so you log into that and run the Kermit server on the Mac, and then the CPM one can get files off it as needed. But yeah, I think that's about as far as I'm going to take that today, because obviously it's getting nowhere. So we managed to get Nevada Edit up and doing something, and then we failed with the documentation, so we didn't know what to do with it. We managed to get Kermit downloaded onto the thing, but we don't know whether it works. And we can't get firmware onto the ESP. So overall, that was a hugely productive couple of hours, and I thank you all for joining me for that. Sorry it wasn't more accomplished, but we shall head over and see what Shelby's up to. Sounds like he's doing preserving data general documents, which is... I presume he just wants to get that crossed off his list, and then he can get on with the rest of his list of tasks that he came up with last Friday. But we'll go and see how he's doing. And then we'll be back next week with System 1 and the 4th. Tuesday evening I might be doing a bit of a software development. No, I've got two things. There's either a surprise mystery module for the RC2014 to build, or we'll take a break from it and I need to do some software dev because, like I said, I need to get some asset tagging going in the office before I move out. So it'll be one or the other, depends how my weekend goes. And in the meantime, yep, thank you everybody for joining me. I'll see you whenever I see you again, and we'll go and talk to Shelby. Good night.